Spent a very long time thinking about how Tamlin could have the holy horny fucking night, but then Rhysand just has northern lights, and I kept thinking about it, and then I realized, what if all of these fire nights, or whatever these nights are staggered across the 7 or 8 courts, including the Dusk Court. So I got myself a little pagan holiday calendar wheel, and I kind of mapped out where I think all of the holy horny fucking nights are, or at least the high holidays for each court. Sarah did not do this, so now I feel like I must. So based on what we know about the order of events in A Court of Mist and Fury, I would argue that spring equinox, that is the day of Fire Night, that's Calanmai, that's Tamlin's holy horny fucking night. Between February and January, I think that would be Starfall, that's night. And I think that would work with February and January being like kind of longer nights. I know like the winter solstice is December, and that's Yule, but I feel like Yule is really a winter thing. So I think February, January, that's kind of where Starfall falls, because Starfall also can't be solstice because they celebrate solstice differently. And then the Dawn Court would be here around April and May, because that's kind of like the sun is starting to come out, things are starting to get warmer. The sun is more prevalent here than it is like down in the winter months and March. Summer solstice is obviously, that is Tarquin's holy horny fucking night. And I would argue that the summer court and the spring court and the fall court and the winter court, they all do their holy horny fucking nights relatively similarly, just with different aesthetics, but we'll get there. Day court would be July and August. Even though it's the middle of summer, it's not the solstice, and that's still very bright daytimes. And I would argue that the day courts we'll get there. Autumn equinox is autumn court. Baron with his holy horny fucking night. Well, let's not think about that too closely. And then Samhain, that's like October, November. We're getting into like the darker months. And then that would be the Dusk Court. But we don't have a Dusk Court, because the Dusk Court is Valkyries and Bryce and Elriel, and that's a whole other thing. So starting from Yule, I'm going to try and spitball what I think these holidays would be, their holy horny fucking nights or whatever. So winter court, this is going to sound so stupid, but I think that the winter solstice, it would be a lot of like, Christmas trees, kind of a lot of what we saw in the night court. But while the night court is doing like normal solstice, Callias and Vivienne, they are being infected with the holy horny fucking magic, and they are fucking for the winter court. And luckily for Callias, he is High Lord, and he has a wife. He does not need to go searching through the winter court to find a maiden worthy of his holy horny fucking time. But I also think instead of it being like, a bonfire and like a party, it would be like a fireplace and presents and that kind of thing. So it's like Calanmai, but make it Christmas. We know about the night court, they have Starfall, and then the spring court has their own holy horny fucking night. We've already seen that. So we're going to skip ahead to the Dawn Court, which I feel like their high holiday would be something around March, it will be something around April or May, and this would be something a little bit more, it wouldn't necessarily be like Starfall, because I don't think there is a Northern Lights version of the dawn or the daytime. But I think if we're going to put dusk over at Samhain time, like Halloween time, I would argue that instead of the spirits coming out to play, which would be like a daytime thing, I think the dawn would be putting spirits to rest. It would be like kind of like Coco in like the Pixar movie Coco, where you have a day where you can like converse with your family members and whatnot, and then at the end of the night, the joy would be, saying goodbye to them and like releasing them to go back into the afterlife for the next March and April. Honestly, that sounds really beautiful. The more I think about the Dawn Court, the more I want to see of it. Next is the Summer Court, and the Summer Court is just Tarquin's holy horny fucking night, and it's kind of like the spring one and the winter one, except this one would be summertime, and I would argue there'd be a lot more a lot more like beach times. Like I feel like the summer holy horny fucking night would be kind of like Carnival. Moving on to the day court, disappointingly for Hellion, he does not have to fuck in order to preserve the magic of his court. But I think the way that the night court gets northern lights, I think the day court would get some sort of sky phenomenon that is adjacent to fireworks. Because the day court, that's like July, that's like August. I feel like it would be very 4th of July coded, where like you have bonfires out in the street and you make specifically like barbecue food. And at the end of the night, instead of it being like northern lights streaking across the sky, they use their knowledge of technology and their knowledge of like different kinds of lore, and they make like their pretty explosives and they set them off at night, and it is lovely and it is beautiful, and it is a less militarized version of the American 4th of July. Next, we have autumn. This is pretty straightforward. This is Baron's holy horny fucking night. Hopefully Eris's future holy horny fucking night. Just, it would be kind of like Tamlin's, only with more pumpkin spice lattes. And then finally we have the dusk court, where I think it would be kind of the opposite of the idea for the dawn court, where instead of the dawn court, they put the spirits to sleep, and they it's about laying spirits to rest. This is like, hey, come on, spirits, come out to play. And it would be very costumey, very they don masks. It's very, very Halloween, very Day of the Dead. Like, Sarah, like, see, that wasn't hard. Like, this could have been really cool. And I think the problem with the way that Calanmai is talked about now is that, oh yeah, all of them have to fuck. But like, that opens up so many more questions than it closes, because now it's like, did Amarantha let out all of at least the seasonal High Lords, so they can go and do their fucking and then go back? We know that didn't happen because Callias hadn't seen Vivienne in 50 years. So it seems like she had this idea of what the Fae world was going to be like, and then she retconned it when Rhysand and Feyre were supposed to get together, and she realized, oh, Rhysand meeting Feyre at that moment, and like him knowing that it was Feyre, and him not being infected with the holy horny fucking magic, it flies in the face of the world building. And when you set rules for yourself, you have to adhere to your rules, especially when the book is already published. Anyway, those are my ideas for how I think the Fae High Holy Days would work, and how they would fit within within the calendar that we already have, based on real world concepts that we already have. I hope you liked it.